Well, I think one of the things the SEC has said is that was Bill Hinman's personal opinion.
Right.
It's hard to feel like there's a lot of activity that suggests that's much more than one person's individual opinion.
Right.
When the SEC comes out and they post a speech on their website, when they reference it in other things, it feels like that's more than that.
All right. Speaking about optics, Bitcoin ETF. I just got off the phone with Mike Novogratz, crypto investor. I believe he's an investor in Ripple too, isn't he?
He is a shareholder. He's a shareholder of Ripple, which Ripple shares, those are securities.
Okay.
And they are registered.
Okay.
Or they are an exemption.
I read that somewhere. That's good. It's good to clarify. I asked him about this, and he said it's symbolically, the fact that there is an ETF of Bitcoin, symbolically significant, huge. He used some superlative word. He was a little more dubious about the practical impact because it's a futures contract. Are you on board with that?
Well, first of all, Mike has been one of the most kind of prescient crypto investors out there, and I think generally when he says stuff, I agree with him. In this case, I also agree. It's a baby step. It's unfortunate that all we can really expect from the SEC right now are baby steps. So I think it's a positive step, but I agree with him in the construct that it's actually a futures ETF as opposed to actually a pure Bitcoin ETF. It really is going to appeal, I think, to very sophisticated investors. To the extent we want to open up the industry, democratize the industry, allow access to the industry, I think it's symbolic, or I think that was a word Mike used.
And the downside to retail getting involved in futures, it's priced differently. It's not. It's a little more of an opaque market, correct?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think if you start getting into the weeds of how futures work, you're alienating a segment of the market that might not, be familiar with how futures work.
Okay. Before I let you go, will there be an XRP ETF?
Well, look, I think this it's a really important question, maybe less so specific to your exact answer, which I promise not to dodge. But why is the SEC picking winners and losers?
Yeah.
Why is a government entity deciding this is a winning one, which, by the way, happens to have, some pros and cons, massive power consumption, which isn't great for a climate agenda that Gary Gensler cares a lot about, but being silent about other things. And then, one of the challenges right now is Gary Gensler, who has been asked specifically about ETH, hasn't commented.
The Ethereum.
But if it's so clear, if the laws are so clear and he's asked a specific question, then just answer the question because it's clear.
Well, what's interesting is I have this debate with people all the time. They're like, well, the internet is regulated. I said, no, it's not. The internet is not really regulated. You can't post illegal stuff. You can't post kiddie porn. You could post it, but you'll get arrested after you post it. That's where I think, would you agree with this notion that the regulation of not just the cryptos, but it all comes down to your technology on Ripple. It could have a stifling effect.
Well, I think it's already had a stifling effect.
Right.
Here in the United States, it has frozen certainly Ripple's activity in the United States. I think you saw XRP get delisted from most exchange or halted trading of most U.S. exchanges. So I think it has had a stifling effect here in the U.S. Hopefully when we get to the end of this, there'll be certainty and clarity, and frankly, it could be a very positive thing for the XRP ecosystem and community that it's the one crypto where there is clarity and it is certain.
Do you see a settlement of your case in the works?
Look, I would love to spend less time on this and be able to move forward. The one thing that Ripple cares about more than anything, and really for the whole XRP ecosystem, is that there's clarity going forward that XRP is not a security. If that's not in the cards in a settlement, then there's nothing to settle.
I just want everybody to know, viewers, I've asked Gary Gensler to come on. I've asked Bill Hinman to come on. I've asked Jay Clayton to come on. I've asked the people at Ethereum to come on. I've asked anybody to come on. I'd asked who's the guy that created Bitcoin again? And that's
Satoshi. Well,
we
don't know.
We don't know. But I'd ask him.
He or she.
Nobody knows.
Or they.
They. No one said yes. You're the only guy that did. Thank you.
Well, thank you for looking into it.
Thanks.